The HBCU First Look Film Let's Talk series is touring historically black colleges and bringing experienced Hollywood film and TV executives, producers, directors, writers, content creators, and influencers for informative conversations on how to build a career in entertainment. We're looking for the next Spike Lee, Ruth Carter, Will Packer, hailing from the HBCU community. Are you the next? Get ready for an inspiring, empowering, and enlightening conversation. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. On this episode, we're taking a trip to Pantherland, Prairie View A&M University. Prairie View has been paving the way for HBCU culture and producing productive people in the entertainment industry, from television actor and activist Mr. T to In Vogue's Terry Ellis. We're keeping it real with Prairie View's own television personality and comedian Loni Love in this exclusive Fireside Chat as she shares insights about her career and about how she garnered success in the industry. It's the HBCU First Look Film Let's Talk, a Fireside Chat with Loni Love, hosted by award-winning writer and director Tony Clomax from the HBCU First Look Film Festival Tour.
Thank you all for joining us. It's the HBCU First Look Film. Let's talk Bridging the Gap, Fireside Chat. Now please welcome Professor Tony Clomax and Miss Loni Love.
PV.
Yes.
How do you feel about that welcome?
I mean, it's always nice to come home. And thank you for this moment. And it's just important, especially with, working with the students and especially in communications. This is just a great moment.
Yes, it is. Now, you and I have a lot in common. A lot of people may not know this, okay? So we're both from the Midwest.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago. We both, of course, went to HBCUs. You here, PV, and I went to Hampton.
I'm sorry about that.
okay. Home by the sea. But I want to know, how did a Detroit young lady make her way to PV campus?
Well, when I was graduating, I graduated at 17. Nobody in my family went to college, so I was first generation, but I didn't even think about college. I immediately in Detroit went and got a job. In Detroit, it was all about automobiles. And so I got a job at General Motors, and I was 17 years old, hardest work ever, building 500 cars a day, 7 days a week. And luckily, there wasn't a PV alumni who was an engineer there. And I'll never forget, he took me under his wings. He saw how young I was. He was like, you need to go to college. And so we ended up, because he was an engineer, that influenced me. And I also studied, like in engineering, you could do anything.
Right.
It's just study the art and the craft of it. So he said, go to Prairie View because they graduate the most black engineers. And I looked up Prairie View, and we were able to get me down in there. And once I got, I like worked really, really hard. I only had one semester's worth of money. Because no one in my family went to college, I didn't know about financial aid, stuff like that. So when I came down here, I'll never forget the guidance counselor. He looked at me, he said, you sure you want to do engineering? It's a lot of math and science. And once you give me a challenge, I was like, yes, I want to do, just give me the classes, whatever. I didn't even know what I was doing, right? But I always say that was God. So I ended up getting like 14 credits. And it was, the basic engineering classes and the English. And that semester, I studied really hard. And then I realized toward the end of the semester, I don't have no money. How am I going to stay in school? And so I ended up getting all A's and one B because the English teacher, she was hard on everybody, but I got one B, exactly. And I'll never forget at the end of the semester, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. The same guidance counselor called me into his office toward the end of the semester. He said, I looked at your grades and I applied you for a scholarship. And the scholarship was from General Motors. And that's how I was able to stay at Prairie View the whole time. And I ended up getting my engineering degree, and it was the best decision. Mentors are so important. So to this day, I thank Mr. Green for that. So thank you.
Give it up to Mr. Green. That's the thing about HBCUs. The professors, the administrators, they go above and beyond what they're paid to do.
Exactly.
And that's a great thing.
And once you become alumni, you're supposed to always remain alumni. You're always, repping your school. And so that's why I'm here today, because I'm repping PVAMU. This is my school, okay?
All right. All right. So you're here, you're a student. Now, were you always funny? Like, how did you?
No.
Okay, tell us, how did you slip into the comedy thing?
Because I was always silly. If you can tell, I'm silly. If you look at the projects that I do, if you see me on certain shows, there's a point of silliness and levity in me. And so one day I didn't have any money at Prairie View. This is when I was that first semester, and there's a bar outside of campus.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still here, but it was like a little hole in the wall, and they were having I needed $5 for an English book, the English place, and so I went to this bar, and for some reason that night they were having a contest for the best stories, and anybody that gave the best story could win $50. And I'm like, I need that $50.
Right.
So I just made up a story. I can't even remember what it was, but it was just so funny and silly that I won the $50. And that kind of ignited me into people get paid to tell stories. And that was really like my first call to stand up. And so I started researching stand up, and I started doing a little bit, but I still, stuck to my studies here. But that was my first introduction into, the world of arts and crafts. And so once I actually pledged Delta Sigma Theta,
Anybody in the audience?
Once I pledged, I ended up using those skills of the arts that I love to actually help to raise funds. Like at that time, Oprah Winfrey had her show, was phenomenal. So I became her cousin, Wanda Winfrey, and we used to raise all kind of money and stuff like that. And so I started using what I liked on the side to help to raise funds and raise awareness. And that's how I really got into the stand-up comedy game.
Okay. So I always say that Chicago taught me my hustle, but my HBCU refined it.
Come on.
And so it sounds like that's kind of like what you went through.
Oh, definitely. It was not easy, but I tell anybody, at HBCU, when you're a person of color, is the best place to be. Yes, I was raised in Detroit in the Brewster Projects, but this gave me people who were educated, people that had the motivation the way I had the motivation. That's why I say HBCU, it gave me my hustle. Even though I didn't have money, I was happy.
Right.
Now that I have money, I ain't as happy. I want to go back to HBCU life. It's so it's like I tell everybody, cherish your time at your HBCU because you'll never have this time again.
You guys hear that? All right. Cherish it now.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin. I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions sensitivities and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I Know. It's time for a new relationship with your skincare.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
How did PV contribute to your overall success?
Oh my, well, it gave me my foundation. I mean, that's why I say when you pick a HBCU, pick the type of HBCU that's right for you.
Right.
I knew that I wanted to be an engineer, so I went to at the time, we graduated the most engineers in the country. When they're looking for black engineers, they come to Prairie View.
Right.
So I knew that since I wanted to get an engineering degree, I'm coming to the best place. And like I said, just the sistership, the brothership, we're a family here. You know, when homecoming came, there was time to do performances. I was part of that. I was on step team. You know, I would come to the communications building. I would be on the radio. I would use all the resources that I could. I became president of the Panelist Council. So it's like there were so many different things that you could do to express yourself and to get the actual experience of performing. That's why I tell people, you know, your college experience is so important. Use all those resources. I mean, I was able to meet people I never would have met before. Dizzy Gillespie, Ruby D, because I was on the student council board, I was able to bring them down and book them. And so all of that gave me the experience that I needed for me to be working today in entertainment. It's just a wonderful, wonderful way to start your foundation. PV gave it to me.
All right, let's give it up for that. I tell students all the time, you got to be more than just a student.
Yes.
You know, you got to be active. You got to get into organizations and service. You got to give back. So I hope you guys are taking that lesson.
Oh, definitely, because when we were like, apartheid was big back then. So what I did with my, I actually formulated the first protest on campus against apartheid. And I thought nobody was going to be there. You know, I'm just like doing it myself. My sorority sisters were helping me. You know, I made signs, I did everything. I put it up. I said, we're gonna march. We're gonna talk about you know, how wrong apartheid is in Africa. That is our homeland. Right. And it's funny because when you start something, and the beauty of this campus that it gets around. And I'll never forget, we had it we were gonna start at the church, we were gonna march all through the campus. And I got there, I said, nobody's gonna be there. I got there, there was like 200 people. And then that's when I realized the power of communication. And sometimes you have to be the spark plug to start things. And that really always sat with me with that. And we had our march and everything, so it was great.
That's awesome. Okay, so you graduate. I saw that you took a job with IBM.
It was Xerox.
Xerox, okay. So how many years did you work as an engineer before saying, you know what, this is it, corporate America, boom, boom, I'm going full-time comedy?
The one thing that I will say, when I say pick the type of HBCU that's for you, when I was getting ready to graduate, I had 7 job offers. That is the strength of Prairie View. That is the strength of the reputation of an institution that is known for something. They were looking for black engineers, they come here. I had 7 job offers all across the United States. And I decided to go to LA because I had a feeling that I would want to change industries. And I knew that entertainment was in LA, but also it was funny because I always believe in signs, you know. I had been fasting a lot. I'll never forget because I had those offers and I was like, a lot of them were much better than the ones in LA. But this one in LA particularly was in a city in El Segundo. And when I grew up, I watched a show called Sanford and Son, and Sanford and Son was based in El Segundo. And I said, you know what, I think that's my sign to go to Xerox because it was based on, it would be in El Segundo, and I grew up, you know, never thought I would be from Detroit working in El Segundo. I was an engineer, project engineer for 8 years. I was the worst engineer in the United States of America.
The worst?
I was the worst. I was sleeping on the job. I would do my work.
Right.
But that wasn't my passion. And when something's not your passion, you have to get out of it.
Right.
And I'll never forget, one day I was like, okay. I was like, because there are decisions. Like, I tell young people, there's going to come a time when you get the job, now you have to make certain decisions because you're making money, you know, you're financially okay. Now here comes are you going to start a family? Are you going to be with a boyfriend? Are you going to get a husband? Things like that. And I just was not, it was just like something in me was going, I'm just not ready for that. Right. And I'll never forget, I went to a comedy club on Sunset. It was the Comedy Store. And I saw all these guys doing stand-up, and I saw only one woman. And she was great, but I was like, why is there only one female doing stand-up when there's so many women that have so many different stories? Right. And that's what, again, sparked. It's always something about a spark for me. It sparked me into getting into stand-up. And so I started doing, that was around like my 5th year of engineering, working at Xerox. And then I started doing stand-up at night. And I would do engineering during the day, and then I would go out for free. I would do all the comedy clubs. Sometimes, you know, because I was new, I have to wait till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, but I did it. When you're trying to do something different, sometimes you have to take the sacrifice. And so that's what I did until I was able to get my break. You will get a break, but you got to be ready for the break. So those 3 years that I was doing stand-up at night was preparing me for my break.
Awesome. Were there any particular comedians that we would know of that kind of started out with you?
Oh, I worked with all of them. Like the ones that I looked up to during that time, of course, were like, you know, DL, you know, Eddie Murphy was like the king back then because of Raw and things like that. But I ended up, because I started out, they were so nice to me. I would be a feature act or either MC for them. So Cedric, Cat Williams, all of them would, you know, hire me. And that's how I was able to build my comedy up too, you know, because as an MC, you start off, you're opening, you do maybe 10 minutes, then you build up your material, you go, and then as a feature act, you do anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes. And I tell those guys all the time, thank you so much. I mean, when I say everybody, I was a feature for everybody. Awesome. But that was the experience that I needed. And because I was a woman, and at that time, you know, it was me, Leslie Jones, it was Lou Nell, it was Tiffany, it was Monique. We were all, but they were ahead of me because I wanted to keep my job. You know what I mean? Because I needed, you know, health insurance and dental benefits. I needed my teeth fixed. Right. So I wasn't about to quit my job, you know, just to do that. And so I waited until the right moment to leave my job and knew that I had like enough, you know, experience, and I was able, and I got my first development deal with HBO. Okay. And once I got that development deal, I was able to leave my job. And there again was another sign. The sign was that we were having a major layoff. And I went to my boss and I said, you know, please save somebody's job and lay me off, because I had got a deal with HBO. And so that was in 2002, and I never looked back.
Okay.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
For the folks in the audience and at home, can you explain what a development deal is?
Yes, a development deal is when you work with a studio and they want to work with you, and they give you money to hold you to actually develop a project for them. So there have been many famous people that have had a lot of development deals. Dave Chappelle has had 19 development deals. Right now, most of the times the development deals may not work out, but what it does is that it gets you in with a studio, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able to get in with a studio so that you can work and you can develop your own projects.
Okay. So the way you tell your story, like a lot of the comedians supported you, they had your back, and that's a great thing, because now the way things are going, you would think all the comedians, especially the black comedians, hate each other. But it's good to know that they supported you. Now, once you started getting, you had your development deal, And what was the first project that you ended up doing?
It was my HBO development deal, and with that, my very first project came from a VH1, and it was a little clip show called I Love the 80s, I Love the 90s. Yeah,
I remember
love
that.
the 1800s, as long as they was paying me, you know.
Right.
And, you know, but I'm telling you, like, people looked at it as a clip show.
Right.
But when you're trying to get into your career, you take whatever you can to put your name out there. Plus, it gives you experience. So that clip show, it got me in with VH1, which is a part of Viacom, which is a bigger, you know, communications. Understand, first of all, study the different studios. Study the different production companies. Understand what they do, what type of projects that they want, you know. And so with VH1, they were dealing with comedy at that time. And so that allowed me, because it became so popular, to get my name out there, which provided me with other jobs. And so once I got the VH1 and I started doing that, I started getting into acting. I had to audition. And because I was building up my comedy, the first movie that I actually booked was Soul Plane.
Oh.
And that was me and Kevin Hart, Monique, DL, and
They had
Snoop
them all.
Dogg. It was a major movie, and it was one of the only movies so far that featured like a massive amount of black comedians. And it was supposed to be this like great movie, and it was on point to be the great movie. The studio was MGM at the time, and they dedicated $12 million. It was a young Hispanic director. His name is Jesse Terrero. He was the director, and he was just awesome. The problem with Soul Plane is that it was a comedy. It was a parody on, it was an old movie called Airplane. But what happened was, someone got a copy of
Not the bootleg.
the bootleg copy, but it was the director's copy, from what I hear.
Okay.
And what happened is, I believe they did not explain to Jesse that when you send stuff off, like to get sound editing, you're supposed to send it under security. He didn't send it under security, so someone got a copy, made a copy, and so the movie Soul Plane was bootlegged 3 months before it was released. Now, unfortunately, this didn't help his career. It didn't help any of us, because Kevin Hart was the star of it. You know, we all thought that it would be like a massive thing.
Right.
But whenever you have fallbacks and setbacks, you have to take a step back, you reset, and you keep moving forward. And if you notice, that's what we all did. Kevin Hart now is one of the biggest comedians globally. You know, I got an Emmy Award. Monique has all the awards. DL, we're all still working. We did not let that stop us. So don't think that because one thing happens, your career is over. You just have to keep going. And that's what we did.
Awesome. So, you know, we have a lot of students who are probably going to, you know, take jobs, start careers that in their mind, it might be one plan, but they want to do something else.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for the students in the audience in their home about balancing that 9 to 5 and their dream?
Definitely. First of all, look at your priorities. And don't listen to nobody. You listen to yourself. You know what you need. You know, don't listen to anybody else. You figure out what you need and what you can do. And based on that, you start planning. So like what I did, I knew I needed, you know, to take care of myself. I knew I needed an income. I didn't want to depend on anybody. I really couldn't depend on anybody. That's why I kept my day job until I felt secure. You know, but even though I had that day job, I just told y'all, I was doing stuff at night. There are 24 hours in a day. You only need about maybe 6 hours of sleep, maybe 5. So you take that time that you have that you're not working, you know, and I would do stuff like sneak out my job. You know, I would be safe. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But when you hustling.
Right.
And all I was doing was, with all that side stuff, the side hustle that I was doing, I was getting experience, I was getting contacts, I was networking. It's out there. It can happen for you. You just have to make sure that you have the right balance.
Okay. Now, as a black woman, what kind of challenges did you have navigating the industry?
Well, you know, back in the day, they would only put heavy-set, dark-skinned women, you know, as just I've been the cook, I've been the school teacher, I've been all of that. But I never let that stop me because you know what, I took it. Because while I was taking it, I was studying it. What does this person do? What does a director do? How does a production run? I'm not gonna let that stop me.
Right.
You giving me that? Okay, fine. Then I started meeting people, and once I started meeting the executives that were making decisions, and they start realizing you're more than just, you know, this, I started being able to apply for different types of acting roles and also develop. I've had like maybe 5 development deals within my career, you know, and so you take whatever they give you right now, but you don't let that define you. If you know where you want to be, you say, I want to be a director. Okay, well, first you got to understand what a director does. So get a job as a PA, understand what's happening, talk to different people, talk to the director, the assistant. It's 3 different directors before you get directors. You could be 4th AD, 2nd AD, 1st AD. All of that is learning. It's a step and a process. And the thing is, they need people of color behind the camera. They need you guys. They need, just like they need people in front of the camera. It's more important to have people behind the camera because it's more control and it's more flexibility behind the camera.
Okay.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin. I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I Know. It's time for a new relationship with your skincare.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
So, did you take acting lessons? Was there anyone in particular that you studied with, or?
I studied with everybody. There are different, the nice thing about living in LA is there are all kinds of different type of acting courses, and you know, I took dialogue, I even took like one semester of a comedy course, and I realized I don't need to take that because it was, I'll never forget, it was a white teacher, and this is like back in the 2000s. But she looked at me as, okay, you should just be talking about this type of life. And I'm like, no, I'm a professional black woman. I'm going to talk about working in the office and potlucks and how I don't like the potlucks and stuff like that. But she wanted me just to do Def Jam, because you got to remember, Def Jam was heavy back then.
Yes.
And Def Jam was needed because before Def Jam, comedy only had like maybe one black comic. at a time. It was, it was Richard Pryor, then it was Eddie Murphy, but what Def Jam allowed was to show the rawness of the African American experience, but it gave multiple people on multiple levels a way of doing it. So it had its place. But the thing is, because we were a nation that was still not fully open to the Black experience, we think that's how all Black people are. That's how all Black comedians are. And I'm like, no, there are Black comedians that don't necessarily get up on stage and talk very raw. They talk a different type of language, but they're still funny.
Right.
And so, but you would meet, like I remember going into auditions and they would be like, oh, you're a Def Jam comedian? You're a Def Jam comic? It's like, what? That's the kind of stuff that you would have to deal with, back in the day. And then if you were plus size, you would have to deal with, the only type of roles you could get is, you the sixth person on the cast and things like that. And they didn't have makeup for us back then. It was a mess back then. We are like the people like what you hear Viola Davis talking about today. People like myself, Octavia Spencer, Yvette Nicole Brown. We, Sherry Shepherd. We were dealing with a lot of issues back then when it came to casting. These young girls now, they don't realize that a lot of us started it, and started speaking up about what was wrong with casting and with having, letting us look good. Because it was like lighting wasn't even a thing. The reason why a lot of sitcoms wouldn't hire Black folks because they couldn't light us. Or if they light us, the white folks would be washed out. Right. They didn't. But now, because you have technology now that has improved with the lighting, the director, Barry Jenkins, has done a wonderful thing with working with technology organizations to work with Black lighting. So when you see his movies like Moonlighting, there's a special type of lighting for Black folks. When you see that's what happened with Oprah. Oprah had a beautiful type of lighting, and it was to light not only Black people, but everyone. But that had to happen because we had to start complaining about it, or it wouldn't have happened. So never be afraid to speak up and talk about the changes that need to be made because the change is out there.
All right. Okay, so let's say you're a producer of your project.
Yes.
You're the lead actress.
Yes.
I want you to cast this film with your first choice of an actor and who would be your supporting actress. What's that dream project for you?
Oh, wow. Right now I'm into pitching a lot of different projects. I'm pitching a sitcom based in the 80s about kids in Detroit.
Okay.
Because I think that people forget during the 80s, it was the crack era. And even though those kids had to put up with a lot, they still were kids. And so I'm pitching a show that is actually going to deal with kids growing up in the projects in Detroit. So that's the project. And I would cast as the mother someone like, there's so many wonderful choices. I would cast like an Octavia Spencer as the mother. As the father, I would probably cast someone like David. Let me see. Who else could I? Because I'm thinking about all the different actors. I have so many friends. I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
David Alan Grier, or
yes, like David Alan Grier as the father. And then as the kids, depending on their ages, you always have to cast. They have to look younger than what they are.
Right. Exactly.
Whatever. So I would, look for someone that's like, I would say a type, like a Kyla Pratt type.
Okay.
Someone like that. So, but when I cast, I don't cast based on what I think. I cast on what's brought to me. And I think that's the issue is that, I will give you the script and I'll say this is, and as an actor, I feel like you should try to fulfill what the script, if you really read the script and you know what it is, and then it comes, you know, and that's how I cast.
Okay.
So.
All right. I got some of my screenwriting students in the audience. I'll talk about that, how to break down the script. It's important. So
Yeah.
I'm not just telling you guys stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about.
You got to break it down, because you see a lot of projects and you look at it and you're like, something wrong. It's because they didn't break down the script. And then they didn't understand what they were talking about. They wrote it, you know, but there's a movie that's out right now that will be, it's an interesting concept, but you could tell they did not break down the script.
Gotcha.
And the thing is the reason why it's so important to do all the steps is because when you get money from a studio, they expect their money back plus a profit. So if you are missing steps, your project is not going to come through the way you need it to come through. Even if you're not working with a studio, if it's your hard-earned money and you're making a movie, break that script down so that even when you cast it and say you got the right person, maybe sometimes they need a little help with understanding the character. If it's your project, you got to be able to explain it to them that, okay, this is what this person is about and blah, blah, blah. That comes from breaking down the script.
Do not skip steps.
Yep.
Simple as that. Do not skip steps.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
So I'm going to jump ahead and talk about HBCU First Look Film Festival. How did you get involved?
Oh my
with
goodness.
this?
I do a radio show, and it comes on here at Prairie View A&M University on Saturdays, I believe. It's called Cafe Mocha Radio. I have been doing Cafe Mocha Radio for over 10 years. It's with myself, Yo-Yo, and with Angelique. And it's our executive producer, Sheila Eldridge. Sheila Eldridge always had these great ideas. Now, let me tell you something. Sometimes in life, you just got to work with somebody, right? Because sometimes you don't always have the ideas. Sometimes you don't, have all the connections. But if you have people that you know that are working hard and that get it, sometimes they need your help. So she came to me, and, we are both HBCU alumni. She went to Howard.
The other HU.
Yeah.
The other HU.
The other HU. And she came to me, she said, we need to do something for HBCU filmmakers. And she says, I want to do this First Look Film Festival. I said, okay, Sheila, now we're going to do a film festival. You know how much that takes? But this is the thing. Sheila has been in the game for 99 years. She knows everybody. And she knows how to get the sponsorship. She knows how to get the funding. And what she asked is for me to, help. I always help, no matter what. So, I said, okay, what is it that we need to do? Well, we need to have film submissions. So we set up the whole, Instagram. We set up the website, and just put it out there. We said, okay, submissions for everybody. I didn't think people was interested. We had over 125 submissions.
There you go.
And so we had a panel of people. It was about 6 or 7 judges. And you had to look through all 125 films. And there were some wonderful films by HBCU students that never get to see the light of day. This was their chance to see the light of day. And so from that, we picked it. Now, when you're doing a film festival, you got to have a place. So she had it at her, university. I'm going to try to get it at Prairie View one day.
Bring it.
Okay?
Bring
it here. Bring it home. But Howard was a great place because Howard is always known for the first.
Yeah.
So we had it there, and our first movie, you had to have a big opening movie, and it was Rustin. Was about to open. But remember, the strike was going on.
Yes, right. The actor
and
strike.
So I know Coleman Domingo, who stars in Rustin, and so I was like, well, maybe he could just send a video to open up the film festival. I'm not thinking anything. So I called him, and he was like, Loni, I'm going to be there. I said, what are you talking about? He said, that strike will be over. He said, I'll be there. I promise you, I will be there. I was like, okay, but can you do the video just in case anyway?
Right.
He's like, all right, I got you, sis. and not thinking, that this was like a big monumental thing. But Sheila and her group of people, they all set it up where we had our opening night at the Smithsonian African American Museum at the Oprah Winfrey Theater. To our surprise, the person that opened up Ruston was President Obama and Michelle Obama. And because the strike was done. And so we did not know. It was a total surprise that they were going to open it up, and they opened up the festival. Coleman came. Coleman looked at me. He said, "Didn't I tell you?" I said, "Yeah, you did tell me it would be over." And so that was our first opening night. We had Ruth E. Carter present a panel. We had other, we had Terry Vaughn, present panels. We had producers. And so for our First Look Film Festival, it was just a wonderful experience. And so now we're doing our second First Look Film Festival. I was able to announce it on the Tamron Hall show, and we have submissions opened, and I'm going to judge, and I just hope we get like as many submissions as we can. And this is just for, the HBCU students. If you look at the history of HBCUs, you have Spike Lee, you have Common, you have Anthony Anderson, you have all of these wonderful filmmakers. And, you have my boy, Will Packer, who put me in my first movie after the ending of my show. We need a place for HBCU students. This is how you use your platform. When you have a platform as a national platform or regional, you use it the best that you can. So we have to give a shout out to Sheila Eldridge, because this was her thought process. She put the work in it, and I'm just, helping along.
All right, let's give it up for Sheila. All right, we're going to take a commercial break and pay some bills.
Yeah.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
My name's Candace Bennett. I'm a mass comm major with a minor in African American Studies. And I want to say thank you so much for coming, first of all. And I think it's so amazing to see a Prairie View alum come out of PV. And it's like I can remind myself that, okay, if they can do big things, I can do big things too. So thank you for that. And you talked about doing what you're passionate about. So my question is, because I've also heard that if you make your passion your profession, you might become burnt out of it. So what's your advice for that?
When you say a passion, make sure that passion, as you're working on it, that you can live off of it, that you're still happy with it. But you still have to have balance. You have to have work-life balance. So make sure that you are attending to those other sides of your life, like your love, your family, and then also with your work. And I feel like when you have the proper balance, you won't get burnt out. You'll be fine.
I struggle with that. I'm a workaholic, and sometimes I'm here beyond the time that I'm supposed to be here. But Professor Clomax wants love too. So,
okay, see, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
So you make sure.
I need some balance.
Okay.
All right.
Make sure you get some. Yep. Okay, Professor.
Okay. And I also want to say I'm vice president of our student radio station here on campus, and I know you do the Cafe Mocha show, so shout out to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love KPVU, so thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we got another question over here. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Miss Love? My name is Justin Collins. I'm a junior mass communications major from Chicago, Illinois, and I currently serve as Mr. NAACP for Prairie View. Oh, wow. My question for you is, could you dive into what was the culture like when you came to Prairie View at the time that you were here, coming from the Midwest? Because, we have a large masses of people here from Chicago now, Detroit, Milwaukee, and we know what the culture is now, but what was it when you were here?
Oh, wow. Damn, you making me go back into the archives. It was a wonderful culture. It was so different than the city life. It was very down home, and there were not a lot of sidewalks. We didn't have the apartments that you guys have now, so we had just dormitories, and it just felt like it felt like it was home. That's what it felt like, and everybody was like one, So I miss that.
Thank you.
Well, you know, you have to understand, first of all, what is it about you that you want to say to the world? But also educate yourself on whatever your passion is, especially when you're talking about social justice issues or things that's happening within the world. Also, I would say be careful what you post and what you say, because there's a lot of misinformation that goes around. So the thing is sometimes when, you know, we get caught up with, okay, I feel passionate about this, but is it necessarily right? Make sure you know what you're talking about before you post or say certain things, and then get all the education that you can. But if your heart is really in it and you feel, you know, like you want to say something, by all means say something. You can join organizations that can help you to make sure to help elevate whatever you're trying to talk about. But there's so many things that we, especially as African Americans and Black American people of color, need to be a part of. I am a part of When We All Vote, which is an organization led by Michelle Obama, and that is to increase voter, it's nonpartisan, it's to increase voter registration. And to date, I think we've increased it by 300,000 people. That's the kind of thing that I try to be a part of. So find yours.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin. I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles.
I Know.
It's time for a new relationship with your skincare.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
My name is Asatu Bailey. I'm a mass communications major. I'm a junior. I have my own segment called PV on the Run that Comax got me the opportunity to. It's where I go to different schools, regardless if it's a HBCU or a PWI, in which I tour the campus, ask student life. Many times you see it from a student's perspective that is, you know, doing great, but sometimes you also need to see the people at the bottom.
That's right.
I was adopted, fostered into a white family, adopted by a Black family, so I could see the whole spectrum of it. I was just trying to see what steps do you need to take. I know I have connections and everything like that, but like management, application, certification, what steps to become a host outside of this would you need?
Well, first of all, you know, you're doing a great start by, you know, doing what you're doing right now, because that's stuff that you can put on your resume. But it's not even about a resume. It's about getting the experience. Make sure you document in detail, because every time you do one of those segments, there's something different that you can do to make it better. So always do that. As far as I say to young people today, you guys have things that I didn't have. We didn't have 20 years ago. You can go on TikTok and start a whole thing and also get paid. I would say use the resources that you have now, because studios are looking at these TikToks, these social medias, they're looking at YouTube, they're looking at all that, and they're giving people deals off of that. So if I were you, I would make sure that I got my social media game up, because like that was unheard of 20 years ago. So that can really help you. Also, there are certain conventions that you can look into and join and be a part of, so that you can network outside of the college spectrum. And definitely, I'll see you at the First Look Film Festival.
Yes. You have so much going on. I don't know how you find the time. So share with the audience and people at home, what's next for Loni Love?
Oh, definitely. Well, first of all, we're going to get this HBCU First Look, the second annual, going. So that's open right now. I'm still on tour, so thank you. LoniLove.com, you can look at that. And I have some pitches that's out there that I think people will be very surprised. I never stop going to these studios and saying, yo, I need a TV show. I need this. So, and I just completed a movie. It's called Binge to Death. It's on MTV right now.
Okay. Definitely check that out on MTV, guys.
And also, it's important to all my students out there, HBCU students, the submissions are now open for the second annual HBCU First Look Film Festival. Just go to HBCUFirstLook.com and submit your films today. I can't wait to see you guys there in November.
All right, y'all. Audience, give it up one more time for Miss Loni Love and Mr. Clomax. That was amazing. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in with us today. Once again, I am your co-host, DeAndrea Kidd. It has been an honor to be here today. And until next time, y'all take care, and thanks for tuning in. Bye, y'all.
PV.